What a joy to be gathered here together this evening in Ljubljana. You have come from the four corners of Europe and from further afield as well. Many of you have had a very long journey, and your host parishes are waiting to welcome you, so I promise not to speak for too long. How important it is that our first common activity is to stop, to pray, and above all, to give thanks to God for the opportunity that we have during these days to meet with each other, to discover the life of Christians here in Ljubljana and its surroundings, and to journey together. Journeying together. That is the title of the letter which we have prepared for this meeting and which will serve as a basis for reflection throughout the coming year in Taizé and gatherings elsewhere in the world. During these past months, we have been journeying together with the different churches of Ljubljana, a team of young volunteers, two of whom you will meet tomorrow evening, have been visiting parishes and church communities to prepare our meeting with them. The hospitality you will receive and the program you will take part in is the result of this time of searching together and listening to one another. With us this evening we have Archbishop Stanislav Zore, Metropolitan Archbishop of Ljubljana, and with him is Pastor Geza Filo, representing the Evangelical Church of the Augsburg Confession in Slovenia. To Archbishop Stanislav, I would like to ask a question. What do you hope for from this meeting for your parishes in Ljubljana?
Najprej, dober večer, dragi prijatelji, in hvala vam, da ste lani v Rostoku slišali moje.
Good evening, dear friends. Thank you for hearing my invitation last year in Rostock and for coming to the European meeting in Ljubljana this year. Welcome. I am also pleased to welcome the new prior of the community, Brother Matthew.
Dragi prijatelji, skupaj z brati iz Taizéja in mnogimi prostovoljci boste doživeli srečanje.
Dear friends, together with the brothers of Taizé and many volunteers, you will experience a meeting full of hope and trust, mutual conversations, prayers and intercessions, songs and silence. All this helps us to open our doors to Jesus, who was born for us at Christmas. And it also helps us to open our doors and approach one another.
Verjamem, da bodo naši verniki, naše župnije in vsi ljudje dobre volje.
I believe that through this meeting, our believers, our parishes, and all people of goodwill will experience an enrichment of their faith, and with it the joy of life, which we all need so much. I ask you to fill our Christians with your youth and enthusiasm.
Želim vam, da bi bili v teh dneh v Ljubljani globoko obogateni z doživljanjem.
I wish that during these days in Ljubljana, you may be deeply enriched by the experience of God's closeness and by the knowledge of how good and pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to live together. I wish you a lot of blessings in these days.
Hvala. And to Pastor Geza, I would like to ask, what does it mean for your church to take part in this meeting?
Pastor Geza, kaj za vašo cerkev pomeni sodelovati pri tem srečanju?
Dragi prijatelji, v veliko veselje mi je, da vas mlade kristjane
It is a great joy for me to welcome you, young Christians of different Christian churches from different parts of the world, on behalf of the Evangelical Church in Slovenia.
Evropsko srečanje mladih tukaj v Ljubljani
At a time of great global challenges, when there is more and more division and polarization amongst people, the European meeting here in Ljubljana is a great opportunity also for the Slovenian Evangelical Church to meet one another in the desire for greater interconnectedness and ecumenical cooperation.
Vsi kristjani smo povabljeni, da potujemo skupaj in se skupaj spopadamo s sodobnimi.
All Christians are invited to journey together, to face contemporary global issues together, to listen together to God's call to a new life in our churches and communities.
Predvsem mlade, ki so nosilci prihodnosti.
Especially young people who are the future must be encouraged today to revitalize their spiritual life as Christians and to become ambassadors of reconciliation, peace, and solidarity for the Lutheran community. This meeting is a great encouragement to listen to one another, despite our differences, and to remain connected to all the people we encounter in our lives.
Vsi smo povabljeni, da v duhu tajzejske skupnosti
We are all invited to open the doors of our hearts in the spirit of the Taizé community and to become pilgrims of mutual trust. God bless you.
Thank you both for your welcome. It's essential, in today's world that we find ways of putting our faith into practice together, even if we're from different Christian traditions. In the introduction to the letter 2024, you find the following words. As Jesus says in Matthew's Gospel, you have one teacher and you are all brothers and sisters. Are not all Christians, sisters and brothers, united in a communion that is still imperfect, but nevertheless real? Is it not Christ who calls us and opens a way for us to go forward with him as fellow travellers, together with those who live on the margins of our societies? On this journey in a dialogue that reconciles, we want to remember that we need each other, not so as to impose our opinions, but as a contribution to peace in the human family. Let us keep these words in our hearts on this first evening of our meeting in Ljubljana. Our journeying together these days is an expression of our desire to walk with Christ, who welcomes all without exception, and who asks us to welcome those who cross our path. In that way, wherever we are, we make a small but real contribution to peace in our world. Of course, we cannot be naive when we speak about peace. Situations of war and violence, present and past, have wounded our European continent as well as many other parts of the world. Our hearts in particular are with our brothers and sisters from Ukraine, who have been able to join us for these days. And also there are a few people from Palestine with us as well. A lasting peace always goes together with justice for all, especially those who have suffered. But when, as in this evening's reading, we hear Jesus saying, "What are you looking for?" how will we reply? Jesus meets us in our deep down longings, And if we respond, he invites us to come and see, to walk with him, to see with his eyes. Are we ready to set out on this adventure of faith, to put our trust in the one who loves us before we love him, to remain with him? Tomorrow morning in your parishes, you will reflect together on the theme of listening. This is the first section in the letter 2024 because, as you will read, at the heart of every dialogue is listening. Be ready these days to listen to each other, to hear what the other is saying first of all, as well as to the scriptures and the silence of our own hearts. Maybe as we do this, we will find God is speaking to us. Are we ready for that?